Hey everyone, it's me again, Lance Meister, Undead Viking, and I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, what happened was that on my normal weekly Wednesday night podcast, me and a few other people were talking about different games we played and older games we played and games that we enjoyed when we were younger. And a lot of the games that I played, like back in the day, they had a lot of take that. Now, if you're not familiar with what take that is that um basically there's a mechanism, there's a card, there's an action, whatever, that you can take while you play the game that directly hurts or diffuses the plans of your opponent. And I mean, there's like lots of those games. A lot of them were like really weird, like old card games, if you will, as kids. And then it was like in all those older games too, like Sorry, they actually were made to like hurt each other and like knock each other down. And I mean, and I don't really, I mean, it kind of sucked to, have that happen to you, but for whatever reason, it never really bothered me that much. I mean, maybe I'm not remembering, maybe I had a lot of fits, with when I'm playing with my siblings and I got into arguments or whatever. But later on, maybe I rose-colored glasses it a little bit, and I remember those gleeful moments. Um, and I think that like your mentality or where you're at when that happens is how well you can like or not like it. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy having to safeguard myself against somebody doing to take that on me. And I really don't and I really like being able to throw a wrench in somebody's gears and stop what they're going to do. Now, I think there are some exceptions. And I'm not going to mention really any negatives about, I'm not going to mention games offhand that I can remember that had these things happen, but I can remember several games that the take that aspect was way too capricious. Like, I mean, I always thought that like being able to defend yourself against it, like knowing full well that somebody could do this to you, and then being able to have some avenue to change or defend yourself against that was needed in take that. And but there are a few games I know that I mean, they're older. I really can't think of one recently that basically like you play the entire game and not like a half-hour long game or a 45-minute game. I'm like talking like 2 hours of a game, and all of a sudden, like somebody plays a card or does an action that completely and totally inhibits your ability to win at that point. And I think that is an extreme and something that I don't like. But for the games that actually have it integrated into it, I really enjoy. One of my favorite games of all time is a game called Santiago, and I think it's out of print and probably for a reason. But Santiago is a game ostensibly about growing crops and selling those crops. But the problem is that you eventually like have to have irrigation to make certain crops grow, and you can really mess with people by changing the water flow of that, and you can really leave somebody hung out to dry. Good pun there actually, in those situations. And but that's part of the game. It's understood that that's part of the game. An older game like Lifeboats, same thing. You really like you're voting, you're bidding, things like that, and you really have to like push people back to push yourself forward. And again, those games have it as an integral part of the game, and it needs to be part of it. Also, I mean, like Neu Heimat, which got remade into, I think it's called The Estates or something by Capstone Games. That is another game that has this kind of mean take that portion of it. And I enjoy those games. Like I said, I think the interaction between the players is almost always more important than the actual game itself. Um, Sometimes you play a game where you get put upon, and I mean, I think I've told this story before, but pretty famously at Gen Con 4 or 5 years ago, My wife came with me, and we were playing. Big group of us were playing Lovecraft Letter, and I won't bore you with the full story, but basically, everybody at the table just decided to go after me constantly. And it was one of those things where, and I asked, and I name drop here, I asked Scott Alden, the guy who runs board, it was like, why? Why did everybody go after me? And he was playing too. And he said, because you're the most fun. You're the most fun to listen to complain, to do whatever. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, playing a role. And I lost the game, but I still look back at that game with having a lot of fun, even though I had no chance of winning because everybody was just beating me down. It was a good time. And I guess the point of this is that I like take that games, but they just seem to be vanishing. They don't seem to be being created. And I think it's an ebb and flow of the industry type of thing. And I think we're moving away from uh that aspect of like joy, Schadenfreude, right? Joy over somebody's misery. We want to make games that everybody just kind of succeeds and does well together, and whoever ends up with the best garden at the end of the game wins. And that's fine. I mean, those games can be fun. But for me, I like having a little direct competition. I like having a little friction between me and the other players. And I like always having to be worried about that friction, and those people coming after you. So yeah, so I guess in this thing, I mean, it's like, tell me what's your favorite games with like a take that aspect, which you've enjoyed. Maybe if you could tell me about some recent games that have been made that have that aspect to them. Um, that I'm not aware of. You can list those below. And then if you don't like the take that aspect or whatever, or you do like whatever, tell me why in the comments below. But thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. As always, like, subscribe, share, whatever. Do what you can, do what you will. I appreciate that. And in the meantime, have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.